My uncle told me I was born in Ethiopia, the border between Ethiopia and Sudan. And so there's a refugee camp there called Loboni. And so that's where I was born and raised.
My mom and my dad were living in a small town called Rumbek. It's like an hour flight from Juba, but it's more like rural. And so the war started then, and it wasn't safe. So my dad took my mom and relocated her in Uganda, Kampala, Uganda. So that's where we were born.
I just remember a lot of chaos. I also remember, living in a small unit with about 10, 12 family members, people sleeping in the couches in the living room, like another 5 people sleeping in that one bedroom. So yeah, I grew up from, poverty. I knew the struggle from that side. So, just to be on the other side of the world, coming to Australia, I knew I could, chase my dreams.
I don't get caught up in the world noise, the currents and all that stuff. I try to avoid those things. But for the first time, I felt like they just seen South Sudanese. It was an honor to be part of the national team, to participate in the Olympics. For me to actually be a part of that and to just see how people perceived it and how people experienced it.
I'll look through Snapchat, look through Instagram stories of my other relatives, and they're at a bar or some event and they're just watching the national team playing. So yeah, it was bigger than basketball. It was for a whole nation, a whole country.
I don't think people really understand what it means unless you're from South Sudan. Like if you mentioned to any person walking down the street, oh, you know anything about South Sudan? They absolutely wouldn't have a clue.
Like when we were in London and we almost beat the USA, they had no idea who we were. And for the first time, they noticed our flag, they noticed where we were from, they heard about us, they had no idea. And so that impact that it had, not on just the international community, it had such a huge impact on an international community.
For my teammate Bul, who I grew up with, yeah, I'm very proud of what they did for our country.
I was so proud just, watching the boys like Bul, Kouat went to the camp and, what they did and achieved. A lot of credit goes to Loyal. He put the whole thing together, and I'm just proud of the way they represented South Sudan.
So I remember the first time actually being around him, and this is my first interactions with him, and just to see how normal he was. Very humble, so passionate about the national team. I remember as a kid I had a cover of him on my social medias. So he's someone that I was really looked up to. Bul, of course. So some of the stories that I hear about both of them, especially Manut, like this man has touched so many Sudanese, and everybody has a story about him.
My dad told me a story when I was sick as a child, like very sick. I got very sick and almost about to die. So Bul actually paid my dad to, so I can get medical treatment and stuff like that. So yeah, so big shout out to him. South Sudan wouldn't be this powerhouse, if it wasn't for people like Bul and obviously, my dad, Wadang, and all them paving the way.
We can use the platform that we have now. We're in a good place. We have brothers all over Australia. Why not we come together and start giving back?
After basketball, I kind of want to go back home, back to South Sudan, and kind of help. I want to set up my own business there. I kind of want to go back and help Lual, because he's set up so many good things out there. So I want to be a part of that and help grow the game back at home.
I hope one day to be, I aspire to impact people just like he has. The story and the legacy that he's left behind, it's an incredible one. And I think it would make him proud to see where we're at right now as Sudanese basketball players, but also to see his country on the international stage.